that, right? Okay, so let's get started. So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining tonight, Tuesday, July 21st. Yes, I'm surprised I knew that. This is our fourth episode of the Authentic Black Mamas series. I have Authentic Black Mama Charity. I just told her that I've known her the longest out of all the moms, which doesn't mean anything, but I thought it was just something that I noticed. Just really quick, I say this at the beginning, but this space was created really to just celebrate Black mamas, their joys, their pains, the love, and overall what it means to be authentic on their journey of motherhood and womanhood, because I feel like sometimes those two get pushed so far away that they are literally the same thing. Not the same thing, but they all go together, and it's helped each other, helped moms and women and everyone. And so here we are, we're here with Charity. And I wanted to first, so I want her to talk about, her story, her journey. But I wanted to highlight her mama bio. That's what I call it, the mama bio, because when she said it, I was like, oh, I want to know more about this, because I asked all the moms to come up with what type of woman made them what type of mom. And so she said, being a free and unorthodox woman has made me an empathetic and loving mother. And so first off, let's talk about, what that means and why those words. Because I just want to dive into that first.
Well, let me actually first commend you for the separation. I love the title, The Authentic Black Mama. I love that you separated womanhood from motherhood, because like you said, sometimes they do get looped in or lumped together and they're not one and the same. In fact, I still honestly don't feel like I think about myself as just like as a mama, right? Like I'm like,
right.
I got kids, like two of them. I have two children. One of them is 12. Like I've been doing this for a long time now, and it's still to this day mind blowing, because I don't look at myself as like a traditional mom, like right, like the ones you see on TV, or like the ones that we grew up, knowing that you're gonna be or whatever. And so I really think that was amazing that you were able to see that there is separation. Like I can identify as so many things. Mama is one of them, but right. I'm so multifaceted that like I can't just be that, right? And that makes me just a better person overall. And you don't want any woman to think like if they're not a mother, or if they if they don't follow that particular path, then that somehow they're not a woman, or vice versa.
Or vice versa, right? Yeah.
So I commend you for that. But I was gonna change that, because I was like, I don't know if I like how that sounds, but I do think that I really wanted to highlight the free and unorthodox part, because I wasn't always comfortable with that. First of all, I wasn't always free. I was definitely super tied to societal demands, or what I even put on my own self, like what I should be doing. And I really had to just one day be like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You can just be you, and being you will make you a great mom. Right. And it just took a long time for me to get there, because like, there's so many influences out there. So you can't help but just kind of notice, even if you don't mean to compare yourself to other people or other ideas or things, you do it. It's natural. So I had to really like take a step back and say, what can I celebrate about myself that I can also bring into my motherhood? And I just really, just knowing that I can be free, knowing that I can be me, allows me to view my children in that way, and allow them to also be free and be themselves, not, try to make them things that they're not, or make them people that they're not. And just make me see them in a different way too.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we don't see children as people, we see them as children or objects even, and they're people. Like they have feelings, they have thoughts, they have ideas, they have ambitions, and although those things may present themselves differently in different stages of their lives, it's there, and if you're paying attention, you will see it. And so you have to really be able to see that and honor that.
Yeah. No, I love that. That reminds me and my mom are going to talk. And so my mom said,
I can't wait for that one.
I know, I'm excited about that one too. So me and my mom are going to talk. And so, and like, as going to the academic magnets and going to these really good schools where you're around these kids who are doing really well. I can't remember somebody from your class who got like a 1600 on the SAT. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how?
That whole class, everyone was a genius. You're like, can y'all just relax?
Right. And so she talked about her comparing what success looked like around the kids that, around the kids who we were. My little sister went to the School of the Arts. My other sister went to James Allen Charter School. So we were always around these kids who were just really, really successful, right? Like smart, right? And so she said not until she went back to school, got her degree, that she started looking at like what success really is, right? And like how I can't put that pressure on my kids because then they're never gonna amount to what they want to be. Because naturally you follow what your mom, we love what our moms say. What our mom says sometimes goes, especially growing up. So she said she felt like, in that space now, success looks a little different to her, and she's like excited that her kids are able to just go out and do different things. And she can say, like my kid did this. My kid is trying to start a business. You don't hear that, right? Or you hear, oh, my kid is going to an Ivy League, or my kid is a lawyer or a doctor. And so we're going to talk about what success looked like for her. So I love that, like the being free and how you allow your kids, because nowadays these kids is growing up in a cruel world.
Imagine Snapchat and Instagram stories when we were in middle and high school.
No, I can't.
Thanks. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Like I'm good on it.
I go text messages. Like, no, thank you. No, I don't need a kind of screenshotting things. No, I don't need it. No.
Yeah, me neither. So before we jump into we did already jump in because you already talked about low-key how you said you're authentic Black mama too, but what does your journey look like? So you have been married and with your husband for a really long time. You have 2 kids, your oldest 12 and your youngest
just turned 6.
And so can you talk about what that looks like? You're still a pretty young mama. I hope you consider yourself a young mama.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
I tell my child that.
Right. Because she thinks you don't talk to people from high school, right?
But it made me mad again. So, I mean, I am a young mama, yes, because I started young. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, we've been married for 12 years.
Yes.
And it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah.
We were young, so in love, so dumb, emphasis on dumb, just like we just really don't know anything. Like you think like nothing. We didn't know like nothing. Broke, like struggle. What else do you need?
I think I got it. Dumb, you got me a dumb.
Okay. But honestly, especially in the very, very beginning, such a simple, peaceful, we had each other. Like it was just us and our little baby, and we were just giddy, happy. Like it was just our little family. And so, as we grew older, we honestly, and we say this all the time, we grew up together, even with our child, our oldest child for sure. And that was a challenge in and of itself because, you're learning, you're figuring things out. We're learning individually, we're learning collectively, we're learning, unlearning, we're relearning, we're figuring things out. We're making goals, we're canceling those out, we're making new goals. So, I mean, it's just like, countless stories, and it wasn't all flowers and roses. I mean, we had moments, but growing pains, I guess you could call them, because they definitely helped us grow into the people that we are today. And when I say that it's tighter, better, stronger than ever, it's great. I mean, that journey has brought us to this place. So now we're in a place where we are reevaluating things. but doing so with our children in mind. Like now it's more so, what legacy will we be leaving behind, and not just individually, because yes, we do have personal goals, but we think now as a collective, what can we all do, all four of us? What do you table? Hey, little boy, you gotta bring. Hey, everybody gotta bring something. Let's go. This is what it is. So a beautiful journey, honestly. Yes, it may have had moments, may have had challenges, but all in all, we use those things to make us and to help us and to grow us. So
yeah.
I know that's super broad, but I don't really know how to like
lump it all together. No, I love that. I love that. And I wanted to talk about, you know, having a partner. You know, we talked to some single moms who, you know, didn't grow up, well, I guess even, grow up or have, you know, the father present, or if they weren't like, you know, in that marriage. And, you know, now we talk about the Black family and Black love, which I think is an amazing thing, right? And so how have you felt, you know, having your husband there to help you navigate this crazy world, and also to being a better mother? How has that helped you? Or, I mean, I know you've said that you guys do things together, but, you know, what did that look like for you? Could you have imagined not having him? Or, you know, like, and you grew up with your mom, you know, your mom and your dad in a household. And so I guess, you know, like, what does that look like for you? Or what did that look like for you?
So I mean, honestly, it looked different at different phases, right? I mean, there was a time when I was traveling for work, so my husband could have said he was a single father. Like, I mean, there are times where, you know, we really had to kind of sit down and kind of say, okay, what's going to work in this time for us? And then when that stops working, what's going to work now? What's going to work next week? Because it changes sometimes. I mean, 6 months ago with this whole COVID thing, we didn't know what our lives would look like. I was in an interview, side note, I was in an interview for a peer support group. I'm getting ready to be leading like a group for moms, for pregnant women and very, very new moms.
Yeah.
And the woman asked me about like my commitment. Was I able to commit for 6 months or a year? And I was like, you know, honestly, I do want to do this long term, but you know as well as I do that we have no idea what things are going to like in 6 months, because you couldn't have told me in January that we would be here in July. Like, no. So I think that really what has worked best for us is not being afraid to reevaluate when things need reevaluation, not being afraid to cross out, you know, a note that we made and maybe say, let's just revisit this, let's do this again, or let's do this another way next time. And then just kind of knowing each other's strong suits. Like I said, we grew up together, so we know each other very, very well, probably better than anybody else. And I mean, it's actually to the point now where it's nonverbal at this point. Like he can walk into the room and know, like, oh my, like, look, this. And vice versa. I can walk in and, you know what, you need a moment? Okay, let me just, I'll be back. I'll come back. Never mind. I'll be back. So knowing, you know, I don't want to cook today. Can you cook today? You don't want to cook today? Well, me neither. What we gonna order? Or how about this? These clothes need to be folded up. What's up? Now we have kids that are old enough to also pick. Like I told you, hey, no one is exempt. Hey, let's go. You need to come in here. It's your turn. Everybody has a role, because you really have to, in order to be successful, especially as a family, especially as a cohesive unit, you have to look at it like that. You have to look at it as a business. Yeah. What's your job today? What's your job today? And not even look at it as like a chore. Like I have to do this thing. No, this is gonna make us all successful. This is gonna make us all great. So.
Sorry, I'm just writing down my notes. What does Charity do to take care of self? You know, you are a public health professional, which I love. You know, again, like how you talked about it, you're a mother, you are a daughter, you are a sister, you are a friend, you are about to be a peer expert. You are a lot of things. So, you know, what does Charity do when Charity just wants to just do stuff for herself. And what does that look like too when it comes to mommy guilt now that you have like a 12 and a 6-year old, right? Like what does mommy guilt look like for you? Because there's like some new moms who will say like, like it's scary or it's a real thing. Or you have moms, I have a friend who has a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old and she still has mommy guilt. So, like what does that look like for you? You being a vet in the game, you're a vet in the game, low key, high key, actually. I'll give you that. So what does that look like, that self-care?
So self-care, it really can look different every single day. Sometimes self-care means going into the bathroom and closing the door and turning on a song in my headphones to ignorant levels. Yeah. Just going completely off, right? Sometimes it can be just being completely by myself, doing whatever, reading a book, writing, listening to music. Sometimes it requires other people. Sometimes I need an outlet, like I need to be with my sisters. I need to be with my extended family. It depends. Like right now, honestly, self-care for me would be being able to be with my cousins and my aunts. It's been so long and I greatly miss that. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on the days. Being early, like today, early, my self-care was turning on a playlist at very ignorant levels and bopping around.
And that's what self-care looks like. And you have to define and figure out what self-care looks like for you, right? But also to make sure to somehow, whatever it looks like, make sure you put it into your schedule, into your day, because we forget.
Yeah, that was definitely a big mistake for me in the beginning of this whole motherhood thing. Putting unnecessary pressure on myself to just always be present and not really giving myself a break, or not knowing that it's okay to do that. And you asked about mommy guilt earlier. Listen, I've had mommy guilt, and I have it in so many different ways. Like, first of all, I told you I traveled for work for 3 years. Yeah, mommy guilt on 100,000. Okay, right. Like for real. Just because, like, I mean, you're away. I mean, you're away. I'm not like partying, but like I'm away for, like, I'm working, but it's hard. And even though technology made it easier and all of that, it's still like at the end of the day, even if I didn't miss a concert or whatever, like, I mean, it's still hard, like to hear your child, when you're coming home, or and now, it presents itself differently because like you said, my children have a pretty big age gap. So now mommy guilt is like, okay, am I giving my older child the attention that she needs or requires from me? And the attention that she needs and requires is different, right? Yeah. But I have to make sure that I'm honoring that, as well as my baby, and knowing what he needs. And then, with parenting, like, your children are different anyway, regardless of age. Like, they're just different people. So knowing how to balance that, knowing that my parenting style may switch up a little bit depending on who I'm parenting at that moment, because they require different things from me. So, but then also me knowing that doesn't always mean that, like, say for instance, my daughter gets that, right? So she may feel slighted, like, oh, you doing this or doing that. And it's like, no. I'm doing what I feel like you need in this moment. And then and I'll self-correct. Like, I'll ask her, like, hey, oh, okay, you feel the way about that? Okay, well, let me fix that, because I don't want it to be in a situation where she's now resenting me because she doesn't feel like I'm coming through for her because I'm only worried about him. And it's like, well, no, I got to worry about you guys differently. Yeah. So the mommy guilt, I don't think it ever goes away, to be completely honest with you. I think that we can find a way to really put pressure and guilt on ourselves in any situation, to be honest. So it's a matter of how you really look at it and approach it and say, you know what, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of grace here.
Yes, giving the grace.
Oh, listen, I really had to get to a place where I had to say, you know what, just, it's okay. Like, you have to give yourself grace, because if you don't, you're gonna burden yourself. Yeah. Unnecessarily for weeks, months, years.
For a while. That grace is real. Everybody has to give themselves grace as much as they can. And I'm sure for mamas, you guys have to do that more often than you would probably want to tell yourself you need to. But transitioning to, you say you love being with your aunts and your cousins. And so, you know, you think about family, you think about support. And, you know, I always say that I think, you know, women, and though we learn a lot of things, we learn a lot of things from our moms, right? Or just people, our grandmothers, whoever raised us. And so I see you post your mom all the time with her grandkids. She's actually—
Shout out to Cassandra. I know you watching, boo.
But if we can transition a little to just real quick, funny, before we go into the next question is, what do you remember, like your mom always saying, like your favorite Black mama quote that your mom would always tell you and your brother?
Oh, which one? Like, I'm not your little friend. We got food at the house. So actually, when I saw that question, I didn't think of it as in my own mom, but just as in moms in general, or Black moms in general. Because honestly, when I think of my favorite Black mama saying, it's nonverbal. It is a look, and the look will say whatever it needs to say in that moment. And I think, listen, you can't beat that. You could be, and it could be in the choir stand, from the choir stand to all the way in the blast pew. That mama looking at you, and you better. Listen, when I unlocked that cheat code, I was like, because it really does work, and it's so powerful. It can say whatever you want to say.
It does. That's so true. And you already know mama's thinking something, right? That's hilarious. It's a look. So it's not a saying, it's a look.
It's a look.
It's a look. So going to the next question. So we got food in the house. That's a good one. I don't got McDonald's money. My mom would always say that, because I would beg for McDonald's. I would beg for it all the time. I don't know why, but I would. And I sometimes still beg, but I just get it down myself. But, you know, thinking about support and family and what that looks like, and, you know, you hopefully, you know, learning, you know, the values and morals from your parents and your mom. But I wanted to have the question, you know, if you were writing your mom a note right now, and so like, dear mama, and what would you say to her right now in terms of, you know, like who the woman you are, who the mother you are, just really quickly, like what would you say to her?
I would definitely thank her, number one, just for always being in our corners. So much, my mom does so much, and really, honestly, not even just for her kids, but for everybody she knows, to be completely honest with you. She just has a heart of gold, very selfless, very giving, very empathetic toward the needs of others. And so when she sees that in somebody—
you use that word in your mama bio, so mama is rubbing off on you in a good way.
A little bit of rubbing off. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I always say that's probably one of the best things that I got from my mom, was just that concern and care for other people. I really don't know if I've really seen that replicated in many people the way that I've seen it in my own mom. And she really, and you can see by the people that flock to her, the people that keep in contact with her over years and years. You know, we were military growing up, so we've lived everywhere. And somehow this lady found a way before Facebook to keep in touch with all these people. I'm like, how you be still with? To this day. And that's impressive. And I mean, but it just speaks to her character. Just who she is at her core. And that's just one thing that I'll always take with me. And she hasn't stopped that. To this day, my brother and I'm 35 and he's 32. And she's still like, y'all good? Y'all need something? Like, I mean, and you know, it doesn't even sound like that anymore. You know, she has a way of saying it now, but you know that, you know, her concern is for her children and now her grandchildren. And just making sure that we're good. And she's very, you know, like she can be very emotional, you know, very, very caring, but she's like a fierce, like when it comes to her people, don't mess with her people.
She's gonna go hard. Yeah. I definitely feel like that rubbed off on you. So thanks, mama. Dear mama, thanks, mama.
Thank you, mama.
Moving into, because it feels like we just started talking, but we have been talking for a while now. You kind of talked about the misconceptions of being a mom, right? And what that, a little bit how you talked about, what a young mom is supposed to look like, or, you can't allow your kids to do whatever, or, you can't be free and unorthodox. So that means that maybe, your kids might run amok. Like, I don't know. People have all these crazy misconceptions about every single thing, and especially about a mom. I think everybody knows what a mom should be doing, right? Like, and so what are some misconceptions, I guess, maybe that you think people have about moms that you want to dispel right here? And especially you being a young mom, but in a young mama, but being married for 12 years, having a kid that's 6 years old, excuse me. What misconceptions do you think there are that you're like, no?
Honestly, I will say that I feel like my generation has done a great job of taking away some of those like pressures, or saying that like we can only be one thing, we can only be a mom a certain way. My fellow moms, I applaud them. I love to see us celebrate and embrace each other. Honestly, I may not be the same kind of mom that my friend is, but I love it. And I love her kids, and I love, what they're doing. If I had to think of any misconceptions, I would say maybe that we know, like that we have it all figured out. A lot of people really think like none of us know anything. We're all clueless. I mean, we're all like figuring this out as we go. And especially me, like, because I was such a young mom, and because my child was the first child in like my friend group, I really couldn't really lean on my other friends for like advice or anything like that. So it was like, gotta figure it out. And then even with that, like, looking to like maybe another generation, like, I mean, like my mom, that generation, even their advice isn't gonna always be applicable to today, right? Because they parented in a different time than we're parenting. Very different. So I mean, there are definitely broad ideas and concepts that you can take, but there are a lot of things that like my mom has no clue about.
Yeah.
Like she just does it, and that's not an indictment on her. She doesn't have to worry about her 12-year-old having a phone with text messages coming in, or was on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever. Yeah. It's a whole different ball game. And so I don't know. I mean, I really think that a lot of people, especially the young, like a younger generation, or people who are single or childless, think that we like have it figured out. No one does. No one knows anything. No one knows anything, I promise.
You just like figuring out along the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the single childless woman, give me some advice about not necessarily marriage, but love, and when you're in a space where you, I guess, like in terms of what you have learned from being with your husband for so long, that can help a single woman in a space who is not necessarily looking, but I wouldn't mind.
Number one, I would say watch who you take advice from.
Oh, okay.
Take advice from everybody, especially like if that couple doesn't match like what you see for yourself.
Yeah.
What can they possibly tell you?
Right.
And knowing that couple is probably only showing you the highlights. I think we live in a highlight society right now where that's what you see. And so you really have to take every single picture, every single whatever with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Relationship goals.
Hashtag, oh my God. No.
Create your own goals. I will say that's one thing that I learned.
But really do that. Sit down with your partner and create your own goals. Yeah. What do you want your relationship to be like? Not theirs, not theirs. What do
Yeah.
you see for your relationship? And if it doesn't look like somebody else's, that's okay.
Yeah.
And if in fact, that's great. That's great.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then once you make those goals, how do you work toward them? Like how do we actually accomplish these goals that we have created for ourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, people are always going to, you know, give you advice. Oh, communication, duh. Honesty, duh. Like all of those are givens. Like I please trust. Really? Trust? Really? Communication? Listen, that's with any relationship, whether it's romantic or not.
Yeah. Yep.
So honestly, I mean, just really start with yourself. Know yourself. What makes you happy? Because if you can't figure that out, there's nothing anybody else can do. I don't care who it is that's going to come in your life and do anything to enhance it, because you haven't even figured that out for yourself yet. Once you do that, now that I'm a happy person, I'm a complete person, that now we can talk. Now what do you need? What do we need together?
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that advice. Huh?
Just don't take advice from people. I mean, do, but like take your advice with a grain of salt.
Take advice. Literally. So what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the family? I mean, I know it's COVID going on. I know it's, you know, just the world is crazy. We got, you know, police killing us, just war on just Black people in general, you know, like what is next for you and your family, for yourself? I mean, because you're raising kids in this world that doesn't necessarily glamorize them, you know? So what does that look like for you?
And that's so hard, right? Because especially, you know, with kids, like you look at your own kids, like they're children. And first of all, I want to let my children be children for as long as they can. We are all, and we have been for a long time, just forced to grow up. Like, let these kids be kids. Let these kids be carefree and joyful and just like, please. Sorry, that was a side note. I really, honestly, I have so many things like I have a notes folder. I have so many things on my agenda. Like, you know, I have a heart for public health, but I realize that I have a heart for just social justice in general, and public health falls under that umbrella. Right? So other things that fall under that umbrella would be education, would be the penal system, our prisons, our judicial system, all of it's trash. I mean, just plain trash. So honestly, I don't know. I've been really, really kind of being introspective with that, as far as being at a point in my life now where I refuse to not leave some sort of imprint, right? I'm still playing around with what that looks like. You know, I'm currently in the process of becoming a doula. And as I'm doing that, like I told you earlier, I'm doing the peer support group. So you know, that'll kind of like be like a little intro into that. Yep. But one project that I'm really passionate about as well, besides maternal health, is just health literacy, like knowing like for real, like knowing how much people do not know. And it can be disheartening. And you see it all day. You see it on social media. You see it. I used to see it in the clinic when people would come in and ask questions, and you're like, you should know that about your own body. You don't know that? Yeah. Scary. And I mean, even with COVID, like patients now getting discharged with specific instructions and not following those because they don't understand what that means. Like, this is a problem. People don't understand the impact of what health literacy can do. It can be life or death. You don't understand your discharge instructions means you may not go do what you're supposed to do.
And you can never back in here. Yeah.
So I've been, you know, trying to figure out a way with that as well, trying to figure out, I don't even like what that looks like. So we'll see. That's TBD. But my children, you know, one thing that my husband and I have been really, really passionate about, especially as of late, being forced into this whole time at home, it actually has been a good thing for us because we've been able to kind of like, first of all, spend more time than we ever have probably. I mean, really, I don't think we've ever, as a family unit, spent this much time, these many hours in one day together, like for real, because everybody's doing their own thing, work, school, practice, whatever. So this has been a time where we really have been forced, but it's been good to just really spend time, right? And just to kind of really learn, you know, how we can monetize certain things. Like every one of us, super talented. My husband is brilliant. You know, he works in real estate. How does he, and he has my daughter helping him with that. So she's managing some of his Excel spreadsheet. Like really?
Yes.
Do you want to build your Forever 21 card with your clothes? You want to check? You want, okay, good. This is what that looks like. I mean, listen, everybody works. Okay?
Everybody has a job.
Everybody got a job. And so what does that look like? You know, my children, they want YouTube channels. I don't know. It's tricky. Like you said, this is a weird, scary world, right? And so, but do you? Okay, well, you know, what does that look like? What is the work that goes into creating a YouTube channel? What do you have to do? Can you brainstorm? Can you storyboard? You know, can you actually, you know, plan out what this is going to look like?
Have a list of ongoing ideas that you want to have, the time that you have to not only record it, but edit the videos.
I know. And then, you know, do you have a month's worth of content that you can say, okay, you know, okay, on this day. So,
but I love that. I love that kids are able to, I know it's scary for you being a mom, but for me, I love just that kids are able to just even think about that, right? I mean, and of course at 12, I wasn't thinking about that, but there were times that, starting YouTube, I had to build up a whole lot of confidence to start that YouTube channel. It wasn't just one thing.
These kids, they have no fear whatsoever.
No fear. Kids.
No kind of nervous. I'm like,
Yeah, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off in your story, but I love that kids are so fearless nowadays and they want to do that and push themselves and learn about themselves. Because I'm sure if I would have did YouTube years when I thought I was going to do it, I probably would have learned so much about myself. And not that I didn't, I learned it in different ways, but it's like, I wish I had that mentality of those kids.
Right. Yes, me too. I wish I could be as fearless as that. Like I'm there's some things that I want to launch too, you know, arts related, but I'm like, I'm scared, I'm nervous. People might not like it. They might talk about me, they might laugh. Can I please be like a 6-year-old again and be like, who cares if they laugh? So yeah, so you know, taking each of our passions and figuring out a way to not just monetize for the sake of monetizing them, because you know it's not just about, you know, making money for the sake of making money, but you know, pouring that back into our family, pouring that out into our community, you know, doing all of that. So we're really, you know, we really are planning to use this time as tough and hard as it may be, to really to sit back at the table and make some more Walsh family goals. This is what we're gonna do. This is what you want to do. Cool. How can we help you? This is what you want to do. Cool. How can we help? Hey, how can we help you? We can all help each other, and that's 4 businesses right there. So, I think I'm very, very excited and pleased for what's on the agenda.
Yes, me too. We gotta power up the energy from your kids into all these things that we want to create and launch, and so that we can just do it and not fear, right?
Yes. Think like Trey and Denia. Write that down.
Well, I appreciate you for being on. I loved everything that you said. Really quick, for people that are on, just if this is not your first time on, you know how we do this. So it's hard to comment on YouTube. So if you could please go to on Instagram, the Choose True Projects Instagram page, and go to Charity's Mama blog. Not Mama bio, that's what I meant to call it. It should be the first one on the page, and literally write a takeaway something funny that she said, because I've laughed the whole time. Anything that you would like to say about her journey, her story. And I love
the be nice, y'all. Be nice.
Oh my gosh, everybody is nice here. But no, I say I love the freeness of you. And again, like in terms of the misconceptions, we think mamas have it together or mamas can't be free. Mamas can't. They gotta do it this way and that way. And I love that you are figuring it out like everybody, no matter if you've been in a game for 12 years or not. You are still figuring out, and you allow your kids to also be authentic in themselves. And so I think that's what makes you an authentic Black mama. So I appreciate you for being on. I loved catching up with you. I have to tell you a little bit about public health and what it's going to look like for me now, so we can chat offline.
Perfect. Can't wait.
But I'm glad that we were able to reconnect. And I'm really glad that you are doing well. And I love how you said that, like, it's like the Walsh family goal setting. Like, we doing this together and we're going to figure this out, and we're not going to work in silos, because I can help you, you can help me. And, that's how you have been such an amazing mother, and you continue. I'm sure your kids, when they're asked to be on, like, what do I have to say about my mom? They'll say, well, like,
they better come correct. They better come correct. Do you understand me? I'm so serious.
Goodbye. Thanks everybody.
Can I just make one shout out though? Because I do want to highlight the importance of community in the village.
Oh yeah.
I have an amazing village. I shouldn't even say we have an amazing village. We have great community. The familial support, the community, the village, unmatched, undefeated. My in-laws, my parents, my aunts, cousins, uncles, friends. Love you all. Thank you all. Legit, like for real. Like, I mean, I moved home and I found that I was pregnant with Dini, because I knew I couldn't do it by myself. And by myself, and even the two of us, I was like, we need some help. We need some elders in our life. We need some folks with some experience. Okay. That's what we need. But it's amazing. And I know that we're super privileged, super blessed to have that. And everyone doesn't have that. And so, we joke all the time about it, but we can never even begin to say thank you enough to everyone. I mean, you see the kids, they are so loved and so affirmed, but it's not just us. We're not doing this by ourselves. We have a super support group. So
yeah, your daughter is really affirmed. I love that about her. Every time you post her on social media, I mean, she has this confidence that is like, what's up? Like, I got this. I just love seeing that in kids. And she had to get that from her mama, the village, the elders, and everybody, right? So shout out to the village, right? We don't shout them out. That's a great way to end. Thanks.
I don't want to go.
We can keep talking all night. But girl, I gotta go because I'm tired. Well, I love you, really. I always feel so blessed to just like know people and have people that I know I can go to talk to. And so, especially after, years and years and years, you think like people who you can feel like you can still go back and talk to. And I've always felt that with you. And thank you for just being, just being there.
Thank you.
Of course. So bye everybody. We really getting off this time. We haven't played around. We're getting off now. And I'm keeping this on the recording too. I'm not taking this off. Let me